G'day everyone. The topic of this week's Power Up is RFF and market feedback. What the actual fuck is an RFF and market feedback? Wow, this is just some corporate mumbo jumbo for saying that basically you iterate based off of what the market tells you. Now, every Power Up we do, or most Power Ups at least, will have some reference to our friend Shaggy. Now, who is Shaggy for some people that might wonder? This is that character from that cartoon called Scooby Doo. So when I was growing up, that was my favorite cartoon. And Shaggy, gets an honorable mention in almost every power up that we're gonna do. Now, enough of Shaggy now, coming back to the power up. So RFF, request for feedback. That's what it stands for, or at least to my head. That's what it stands for. The idea is that you don't iterate or you don't make changes to a process without the market telling you what the process, that your service, or anything that you do should be. So the market is the best measure of telling you what to do. Request feedback as much as possible. That's what we do at Epic Inspections. We try and get feedback where possible without being a pest. So you don't want to do it, every week. You don't want to be chasing people like, oh, give me feedback, give me feedback, give me feedback. They'll tell you to piss off, really. And that's not a good thing. So the idea is that you iterate based off of what the market tells you. Now, I've said that before. Now, each iteration in the product, service, or process at Epic Inspections has never been without the market telling us what it is. So winding the clock back a little bit, in November 2020 or so, we started off doing only smoke alarm checks for the market. Now, back then, I did know that the market requires gas checks and electrical checks and so many other things. My customers initially told me that they need gas checks done too. They were like, why do we even bother switching to you if you can't deliver a service end to end? They told us that if the government wants them to do these checks, they want a single port of call to do all these checks. Right, done. We will offer every check that you need. So gas checks, electrical checks, smoke alarm checks, rectifications, everything came into the picture. Once again, what the market told us. The market actually completely expected it. When I pitched my services to customers initially and I was coming at them with smoke alarm checks only, they were like, no, fuck off, man. We want everything done. Moment of truth, right? So, that was a service. Now with product, customers, customers told us, or when I say customers, the customers at the end customer actually are rental providers, or that's a fancy way of saying asset owners or landlords in the old lingo. So all these landlords, they wanted the best bang for buck product, which is basically a cheaper product. So the market told us that they need the cheapest product that they can fit into their rental property. Now every landlord's going to think like that because they want to be able to spend as little as possible and get the most done, which is human nature. So there's a balance where it comes which comes into play when you want the cheapest thing or the thing that lasts the longest. So there's a bit of a balance. But the market said they wanted the cheapest possible product. So we tell people or advise people to arrive at a bit of a balance. So don't go for the cheapest product that's going to fall over in like fucking 6 months. But man, don't spend on a Italian appliance that might cost thousands of bucks. So that's probably what you want to put in your home, but maybe not in a rental property. But everyone's different. Now with process, so I've covered off service and product. Now I'm going to cover off process. Now, this is probably a bigger one than the other two, at least in terms of how much change we had to make. So with processes, the market told us that they expected them to provide us with their schedules. They told us when to do these things. It might seem obvious, but they wanted everything done preferably on the same day, or preferably even at the same time. So that's what we started to do. All three checks done at the same time, where possible, assuming that tradespeople available and assuming that tenants were available. So the market told us that they wanted the reports a certain way. So we had a bit of a format going initially, but the market said that these reports suck. Initially they did, but at least we had product market fit. But based off of the market feedback, we dressed up our reports. customers said that they wanted invoices a certain way. So we had invoicing going a certain way, but the market was like, no, this is horrible. We want things a different way. So based off feedback from multiple customers, we decided to do our invoices a certain way. A lot of people said they wanted to do online payments. So not using net banking, but using like clicking on a link and then get taken to a payment gateway and make a payment. Okay, there you go. We put that in. A lot of people said that they wanted rectification done for certain things and not for everything. So we started to give quotes and advice on rectifications based on what the customer said. So once again, exactly doing what the market told us. So after we've done all these things, we are still asking for feedback. How do you find processes now versus how the processes were initially? So you told us that they fucking sucked before. How are now? You tell us. The benefit of all this was that we got faster acceptance. Or the customer told us that they wanted things a different way. So we started to get quotes from our tradespeople a lot faster. So we used to use, we still do, we still use WhatsApp for our comms with our tradespeople. So, we've got people looking at WhatsApp like a hawk. So the idea is to get quotes faster, to get quotes over the line faster, and get approval faster, and get things done faster. It's at the end of the day, it's all about speed. You got to execute faster. So basically, to sum it up, this power up was about acting on market feedback. So I would highly recommend, at least in my experience, I would highly recommend not iterating or not making changes to your core processes, services, product offering, whatever it is, without asking the market for feedback, without acting on feedback. So please, please don't be like me when I first started my first business where I was absolutely horrible. I was making changes in a vacuum. I was being a dreamer like Shaggy. I was thinking, hey, field of dreams, and they'll come. No, it doesn't happen like that. So make sure that you please, ask your customer base for feedback and act according to that feedback. Till next time.